Dr. Neda, and I'm actually privileged and honored to have Mr. Jonathan Nazanin in our show today. We will be talking about divine masculine who lives in their positive polarity, and I'm really happy that he's here with us. He's the owner of 9 Rounds in Laguna Niguel, Southern California, but also he lives from his heart. And one example, before we continue welcoming him, I want to show you one of his CDs and music that he creates, and the name is Father, and he is actually a father and a great example for all the young men and, of course, women to respect and look up to. Welcome to our show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. So I really respect, admire the person that you are. You're kind. You're a man's man, masculine. You have a great sense of humor, but also you live from the heart. So tell me how you do that. How do you balance it out?
I think once you've gotten in touch with yourself, once you are confident in your own personality, once you know your weaknesses and you know your strengths, you're able to live and present yourself, as they say, to wear your heart on your sleeve. And so for me, that's been the case, to know my weaknesses, to know my strengths, and to not be afraid to make a mistake and be exposed.
That's amazing. Because I feel like with the divine masculine, when they live in positive polarity, they accept their mistakes, they're reasonable, they're secure and calm and grounded in who they are, and they're great leaders, and they guide with clearness, self-discipline. But as you said, they also accept their weaknesses, because then from that they can learn. Because as we know, a lot of men right now, I mean, not to judge anyone, but there's a lot of emotional ego going on. And they think by being aggressive or vulgar, that's what the manhood is all about. But I've never seen that with you. That's why I'd love to have you here, because you're so kind and calm, but you're manly, and also you've embraced that part of you, the balance.
Sure. I mean, I think practice makes perfect. You know, no one is ever perfect. We're always looking for progress. I think that one of the mistakes that we make as human beings, specifically as men, is that we go after perfection. No one is perfect, and no one will ever be perfect. But if we can accept the fact that we can make progress day by day, you know, week after week, maybe year after year, then those weaknesses, those areas of improvement, will find themselves to be fulfilled.
That's beautiful. How do you stay in your heart center?
For me, it's always been a spiritual journey. Obviously, we can't separate our physical realm from our spiritual realm. And for me, as a believer, the spirituality part of it has helped me quite a bit.
That's amazing. And I know with our society right now, everybody has a different opinion. But I believe that if you're believing in a higher source, let it be God, universal intelligence, that really guides and helps a lot of people. And I know that you actually are a pastor.
That's right. Yeah.
So anything you want to add to that for people if they're lost, confused, they don't know what to do? Like, where do they find the guidance?
Sure. I mean, just like you said, you know, we respect and honor everyone's belief system. What has worked for me is believing in God the Father. Clearly, you know, having a role model such as a Heavenly Father in my own personal life, even though when I lost my dad, I was only 22 years old, has been a very grounding process. And so knowing that in my weaknesses, I can run to Him. In my joy, I can rejoice in Him. These have been some plus points in my personal life.
That's beautiful. That's how I think you balance and you keep the positivity going.
That's true.
So now we're going to be asking really some of the questions
right.
that we have here.
Sure.
What gets you excited about life?
The fact that I have an opportunity to be better than yesterday. Waking up in the morning knowing that today I have the opportunity to live a better life, to lead a better example. I can't go back and change the history or what took place yesterday. I can certainly learn from it. Tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow is a promised check. Yesterday was a canceled check. Today is a check made payable to cash. And if I can cash that check, meaning if I can live my life to the fullest, then I think I've earned something to be remembered for.
That's beautiful. I've never heard that, and that's a beautiful analogy that you've mentioned. I will definitely remember that going forward. So what do you love most about being a man? Especially because I have young sons, of course, and I know you have daughters.
Sure.
So for all the new generations
Sure.
and the younger generation.
I love being a man, or I loved being a man when I found out what my purpose in life was. What are the things that are entrusted with me as a husband, as a loved one, as a father, as a son, as a brother? You know, there are certain sets of responsibilities that are bestowed upon women that we as men cannot take those upon ourselves, and vice versa. There are certain responsibilities, certain areas of life that are bestowed upon a man. And when I realized what those were, and I was in pursuit of them, it fulfilled me. It made me become proud of who I am, with all of my inequities, with all of my shortcomings.
So what makes a man, as you're saying, with the responsibilities? Because I want to really hear it from you. Because now a lot of, as I said, there's a lot of confusion with what's happening. A lot of females trying to act like males. A lot of things are changing. But I think if we keep the balance and polarities in place, things will be better, will be stronger. But what do you think those attributes are?
I don't think I could agree with you even more than what you just said. But I think knowing that we are providers, knowing that we are here to provide security, here to love, to protect, to be trustworthy. Even in a marriage, in a balanced marriage, we're here to love unconditionally. Obviously, biblically, it says, love as Christ loved the church. And so as men, if we learn to love, if we learn to forgive, if we learn to forgo, I think that's what being a man is. Being a man is not being macho. It's not about having the biggest muscles. It's about having the biggest heart. And how do you find that big heart? Is knowing what your purpose is. And our purpose is to provide love, to be trustworthy, to be caring, to be protective, to be at the same time sensitive in areas of life, and to be wise. Wisdom is something that truly is unparalleled.
That's beautiful. But do you think wisdom comes with age? Or I know nowadays with some kids, they're so wise, but...
I've heard it say that fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. But I think as we grow, we learn to become wiser because of our mistakes. Certain things that yesterday seemed okay, after in retrospect, we look at it, and we're like, now today, that perhaps was not the best decision. So we learn, we become wiser. That's why it's so important to have role models. Even I'm 43 years old. If my father was still living, he would have been in his early 70s, and I would really take advantage of his wisdom, of his knowledge. And I think growing up in families and having that generational impact makes a huge difference in the youngsters' lives, because you learn from their wisdom as they learn from their generations before them.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think that's one of the motivations, because I am raising 2 boys as a single mom. And that's why I want people like you, men like you, to be the examples of these growing young men, basically. So thank you for sharing that and really clarifying what that means to be a man exactly. Yep. Not having biggest muscles.
Right.
So what does love mean to you? Like love. It could be between humans, a relationship, or even divinely love.
Sure. In my personal life, the sense of vulnerability. Knowing that I'm vulnerable, but yet I'm safe. Mm-hmm. Knowing that the person who's extending that love to me has seen me in my worst and has chosen to still remain. That is true love.
Yeah, it's almost like divine love.
Oh, absolutely, because...
Exactly, if you compare it.
Yeah, he loved us when we least were expecting of it.
Exactly. That's
deserving
beautiful.
of it, yeah.
That's amazing. Heaven on earth.
Oh, precisely.
That would be.
Absolutely.
So what do you think connects all humans to each other?
Obviously love.
It is love.
Because when there are language barriers, when there is different tones of skin color, when there is different classes of society, education, income, what brings people together? What brings a very rich man and a poor woman together is that pure love. Because love is transpired by just a look, a stare, perhaps a wink before you can even speak.
That's correct. And also it's energy too. I mean, even when you just send out that positive, loving energy to people, they feel it.
It's translucent.
Exactly.
It's absolutely translucent.
That's beautiful. Thank you. What are you most grateful for? Now, this one.
First and foremost, I'm grateful for my health, because it's something that you cannot purchase. I read at one point in time, Steve Jobs, the founding father of modern technology of Apple Computers, said that the most expensive mattress in the world is a hospital mattress, because you can certainly have everything you want in life, but you can't buy health. And I think health is the biggest blessing, is the biggest, most valuable item I have. And the second is the love of my daughters. Rarely do they say, Dad, we love you. I wish they said it more often. But being with them and being surrounded by them, I think is a great translation of what true love is.
That's beautiful. And you're grateful for it. One thing you would love to change about the world? I mean, there's so many different areas, but we are concentrating on the positive. And
to have a realistic mindset.
And what does that look like?
To see things for what they are. You know, a lot of times we can have imaginations, we can have certain dreams, certain aspirations, but sometimes we need to come in contact with reality. A very realistic point of view, seeing things for what they are, the good, the bad, the ugly, the mistakes of the past, the challenges of tomorrow, but yet the tasks that are at hand. We cannot hide ourselves from the reality of things and assume they're not there, or we cannot deny the great things that happened in the past or the certain mistakes that may have made in the past. So I think being realistic in the time being is one of the ways that this world can heal itself.
I agree with you. I never even looked at it from that point of view. Just looking at things, and then you realistically can deal with them.
Exactly.
Rather than when you know all the facts that's at hand,
Sure.
Then you can actually strategize and find solutions to the problems.
That is true.
That's interesting. Wow.
Something we hear often is that 9-round is meant for only those types of people that want to lose weight. And that's definitely not the case. I've been with 9-round for over 11 years, and I've seen so many different types of people come into our doors. From runners to power lifters to people that are looking to lose 100 pounds, everyone in between. Kickboxing gives you the opportunity to move the way that your body is naturally meant to move. So you're able to really utilize and hone in that kickboxing into whatever your goal is. So keep that in mind. 9-round itself, that kickboxing circuit workout. No matter what your goal is, you can knock it out.
That's why I love doing this, because I'm learning. Is it more important to be loved or to love?
I think you can only be loved when you love. It's a two-way street. You can love and not be loved, and you can't expect to be loved and yet not love. Otherwise, it becomes a one-way transaction. You give and receive. It's not a purchasable item, but you are loved when you love conditionally. And when you love conditionally, then you are also loved in return. So I think it's more or less it's an oxymoron. It goes hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. You can't have just the daylight. You can't only have 12 hours of night. So it goes both together 24 hours. You love and you're loved. And when you're loved, the only reaction you can show is to love.
That's interesting, because you know how they say unconditional love and everything. And
Yeah.
One of the teachers, she was saying only unconditional love comes from your dog. And so with humans, you know, it's like almost give and take, because
Sure.
it's a reflection between people,
Correct.
all of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very nice. What gives your life meaning?
Knowing that I have a purpose in life. That I'm not just here out of chance. It was not an accidental event that took place 43 years ago when my mom gave birth to me. There is a reason why I'm here. There is a purpose to my life. I have an opportunity to leave a legacy behind. Now, my legacy may not be world-renowned. It may not even be city-renowned. It might just include my mom, my sisters, my loved ones, and my daughters. But knowing that I have a purpose in life really gives my personal life a meaning.
I really appreciate you mentioning that, because everybody's purpose, small, big, there is no judgment on that. I feel
Sure.
like a lot of people think, and especially the younger generation, if you're not doing something really huge, or if you don't have certain followers, then you're not as important. But that's totally
not true.
not the reality, as you've
That's true.
mentioned.
Yeah.
Because you can change one person's life, and you really have affected one person.
That's correct.
And we're all connected, so really, you've really affected.
It's a ripple effect.
Exactly. So thank you for mentioning that.
Of course.
That it doesn't have to be a huge deal, but it is a huge deal. So what does it mean to be a human to you? What makes us human?
The Bible says that we were created in God's image. And if I'm here as a human being reflecting God's image, how would I want that image to be reflected? To be human is to be humble, to be kind, to be loving, to be caring, to be able to partake in people's joy without being envious, to be able to participate in people's sadness without being humiliating towards them. To be on a human level is to feel and touch what your next peer is feeling. And what makes us human really is the pain, the tears, and the joy, and the tears of joy. It's funny how when we're sad, we cry, and when we're really joyful, we also cry. And I think to be a human being, you have to be able to feel those with the person who's sitting next to you.
That's beautiful. Yes. And I think that's what really sets us apart, with the artificial intelligence that they're doing and all the technology that's coming along, which I really appreciate, and I'm using them.
Sure.
And what makes us human at the end of the day, because a lot of people are saying, well, is AI going to take over? What's going to happen to us? But I think what will save us is our emotions.
Absolutely.
And our intuition and our godliness, the godlikeness in us.
Sure.
That, as you said, makes us human.
Yep.
Which I don't think the technology is going to get there. Because we will see what's going to happen, but I feel like, are they smarter than us? 100%. They have all the programming, they're knowledgeable. But as you said, do they really, even if they have the emotions, do they really feel the emotion? Do they really have that sixth sense?
Are their emotions reflective of how they feel, or are the emotions reflective of how they've been designed to feel?
Exactly.
Because you can design someone to feel a certain way. But when somebody responds unequivocally, unparalleled to their own personal feeling, I think that's very humane.
I agree. That's very well put. That's well put. It's like, so the next question is really important for me, and I think for the females in the world, because with the society and what we think beauty is.
Sure.
What makes a person beautiful?
Their heart. Their heart. They say that the
Not the lashes?
Oh, the lashes are definitely a must. The lashes are definitely a must. Obviously, the initial meeting of somebody. You look at somebody from across the room. You're attracted to perhaps their hair, their dress, their shoes, the way they've done their makeup. But those things are just on the surface. If you spend about 15 minutes speaking to someone, you'll know where their heart is, because the Bible says that the mouth speaks from the abundance of the heart. So whatever that is in your heart usually will transpire in your conversation, in your demeanor, the way you sit, the way you carry yourself. So I usually like to allow people to speak the first half an hour if I'm meeting for the first time, just to see where their heart is. And I think that makes you either ugly or that will make you extremely attractive.
That's very beautiful. And I mean, I think we're all made up of the same thing, but some people have more of those layers that is really covering.
I tell you, whatever you put in will come out. So if you put positiveness, if you put gratitude, if you put kindness into your own life, if you take time to deposit these things and invest those in your own life, that it will only be the thing that will come out of you. But on the other hand, on the contrary, if you're a negative person, if you're a nagger, if you are always seeing the glass half empty, well, the first thing that will come out of you is also negativity. We can't do this, we can't go there, it can't be done, it won't be accomplished. So whatever you feed your soul will turn around and feed people around you.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I feel like I'm so blessed because I'm attracting all kinds of positive, high vibrating souls into my life right now. And of course, it's amazing that the energy and the frequencies attract each other as well.
In one sense, we are a mirror of who we are and who is around us. So if you want to, they say, tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. So who we choose to have surround us will have a great implication on our personal life.
Exactly. So this is a question that personally I want to ask. If you have daughters, which is amazing, but for younger men, how would you define a high-valued man? Because right now with my boys, I feel like they're saying you need to be 6 foot tall, have a six-pack, have a lot of money in the bank, and be the more of the emotional ego side of that's what they're looking up to basically. And I really want them to see what real kings and warriors, the real men, are about. So What would you say to the new generations, the teenagers or the 20-year-olds that are struggling a little bit? Because in their heart, they know what's right, but the outside is showing something different. If you're not rich, you're a loser, you're a bum. If you don't have a six-pack, then of course you're ugly, nobody will look at you. As a man, what would your advice be to these young men?
I'll give you a very quick example of myself. I came to the States when I was 15 years old. At my heaviest, I was 315 pounds.
Wow.
I lost my hair when I was around 19 years old. I wore my first pair of Nike shoes when I was 18, and somebody bought them for me as a gift from Costco. So never had a six-pack, never had money, lost my hair, was overweight, couldn't speak a lick of English when I came to the States, migrated from back home, obviously. But what I had was a family that loved and supported and gave me the space and the time to grow into the man that I should have become. My recommendation, my advice, if I had boys, I would love them so much as their father and that masculine figure in their life. I would love them so much that they would understand real manhood is real love. You are only a true man when you have learned to love. And in order for you to love, you have to be loved yourself. That's where the parents are so important. That's where the community is very important. Obviously, on the grander scale, what is perceived on social media, on the networks, on the news networks, are so crucial and important. The society plays a great role. But if we can think globally, we have to act locally. So we can think all we want around the world, but if we can't impact our families, I think we failed as husbands, as fathers, as mothers, and as wives. So young men, perhaps it's best to look less to what the society is feeding you and look at what is inside of you. If you can find what is on the inside and nurture that and grow that and let it come out from a small seed to a very strong oak tree, if you will find that manhood and being a man is not only rewarding, but it's very attractive, and women find it extremely sexy.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And also being secure in who you are.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Thank you. That was the message that I really wanted, because I am raising boys.
There you go.
It wasn't one of the questions. We went off tangent, but I got the answer. Thank you so much. So when do you feel most like yourself? Is it all the time? Or when you're doing certain things? Only through love. Sadness becomes happiness. Sorrow becomes joy. Pain becomes healing. Chaos becomes order. Anger becomes peace. Hate becomes acceptance. Fear becomes courage. And darkness becomes light. Working out at your gym with my trainer, your significant other, Mariam. Right. And I feel amazing. It's been almost over a year now that I'm regularly exercising, and it's changed my life.
We all have bad days. If we sat here and said that I never have a bad day, I never have a down moment, I think we've lied to ourselves. But I feel myself when I know that I've done something good today, that I've made a change in my life, because I never want to be the same person as I was last year. If every year, every 365 days, I can look back and say, I've made certain changes in my attitude, in my perspective, the way I talk, the way I eat, the way I dwell, the way I handle my friends and my family, then I think that satisfies me as a person. Now, it could be a physical health, start working out. It could be an emotional health, being in a healthy relationship. It could mean a financial health, meaning you're securing your finances, you're doing what is necessary. And I think that becomes a very satisfying source of strength for us as men.
That's very nice. I love that. And this is the question that I actually wanted to ask and I forgot. What small act of kindness were you once shown that you will never forget?
I was in 9th grade. I couldn't speak English very well. My English teacher, Mr. Noel, spoke to my father. My father couldn't understand or speak English very well either, and he said, I want to come to your home and I want to speak to you and your wife about your son. He made the time after school to come to our home and say to my father and my mother in his perfect language of English and in our broken way of understanding that language, He said that your son has capabilities that are not being met in our school. I highly recommend that you enroll him in the Law and Government Magnet program. And I'm here to help you guys fill out the application. This man, whom I have not seen for nearly 28 years, changed the course of my educational history. He took the time, came to immigrant's home, spoke to his parents, said that your son should transfer out of this school and go to another. And he helped me do that when I didn't know what a magnet program was. I didn't know what my capabilities were. And I think that that small act of kindness in his part became the largest step that I took as an individual, and where it has brought me after 30 years of being in the States.
That is amazing that a person will do that.
A teacher.
A teacher will take the
Mr.
time.
Noel.
Mr. Noel, God bless you.
Indeed.
I mean, it's,
no matter where, I hope wherever he is, that he is.
It's crazy that
Yes.
somebody would do that.
That's
See,
right.
that's why I'm saying that we're all here to help each other. He basically changed their life. And
On the educational part, absolutely.
And on his part, he went out of his way. Probably it was just his time, not such a big deal. But
Right.
for you, as you said, for the next 30 years of your life,
Absolutely.
it's impacted you.
Absolutely. And my sister actually graduated from the same school that I graduated. So it impacted somehow also her life.
And
so
the family.
The family as well. These are small acts of kindness, right? Small acts of kindness that mean the world sometimes to us.
Absolutely. As my coach Kaya says, small acts of kindness equals miracles.
Sure.
Miracles are not, parting waters and all that good stuff. Miracles are when you really help somebody else and show act of kindness. And look at what
I think the biggest miracle of life is love.
Yes.
You
And I
know.
think that's what's going to really save him. I believe personally.
We'll save humanity.
That's
right. That's right.
Either we're going to do that or we're going to all be robots and I'll control you, you'll control me. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We won't do that.
Who knows?
Who knows where we're going?
That's right.
But we're trying our best to stay in our heart centered.
Sure.
Can you think of a time when impossible became possible for you?
When impossible became
possible.
When
Something you thought was impossible and you made it.
to be able to come with the reality of losing my father. That was a very big impossibility. I couldn't grasp it. I couldn't understand it for at least 2.5, 3 years. And it was a reality that I ran away from. And I took solace in many things that I shouldn't probably mention. But at one point in time, by act of God, by that miracle that you speak of, I was able to accept that he's no longer here. And now that he's not here, the fact that I am here, there is a greater set of responsibilities that I now, as a man, as a brother, as a son, as a father, as a pastor, then have to carry on. And so, for me, that was the biggest impossibility that truly became possible.
Wow.
Not only I was able to grasp the idea of losing a father, but to become a father. I think when I held my first daughter for the very first time, I'm like, well, this is what I was made for. This is the purpose that I had in life. To love as I wanted to be loved by my dad.
Interesting. But you were also younger. So in the growing age of 22, you're still trying to figure out. The
That's
20s are still the times that you're still figuring out who you are, what you want to do.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
very crucial time. So is it better to have loved and lost or to have never loved at all?
Oh, it's a double-edged sword. If you've never loved before, you really don't know what love is. But if you have loved and lost because you have loved once, you have that beautiful, sweet aftertaste in your mouth, and you want to go after it. So I think it's a double-edged sword. I hope that you love enough that even if you lose, you go back to love more. And I also hope that if you haven't loved, that you will be loved first to know how good it is to be loved, and then you reciprocate that and you love somebody else.
That's a great way of answering this question, really. Because, yes, I love that answer. If you were loved...
Did you say that to everyone who you've interviewed today, that you love their answer?
No.
I just want to make sure that,
Actually,
I'm the only one you're showing love
You
to.
are actually the first person I'm asking this question
Fantastic. I feel loved already.
Because I get to choose.
Sure.
Other people choose what they wanted me to ask.
Right.
Do you see to believe or believe to see?
I've heard it said, seeing is believing. but I've also have read biblically saying that blessed are those who believe without seeing. I think love cannot be seen. You have to let go. It's just like someone who has been told that there is a bungee cord tied around your ankles. Jump. It's
Woo!
a terrifying, terrifying experience. I would never do it in real life.
Yeah.
I have my significant other. She parachuted, with an instructor, and I could never do that. But I think it's the greatest feeling to let go and to kind of fall into where you need to be, knowing that you're safe.
Yes.
Knowing that you're going to be looked after.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're right, because some things you cannot really see with your eyes.
Yep.
And as they say, that your heart has an eye too. See
Yeah.
with your heart's eye.
Yeah, I had a favorite song. I still do, actually. It says, "Open the eyes of my heart."
See, that's beautiful.
It's a worship song we used to sing in church. It said, "Open the eyes of my heart, Lord." Really, if we can open the eyes of our heart, it opens up the eyes of our soul. And that's when our physical eyes will see. So my question is, how do blind people fall in love? Yeah. Someone who has never seen their spouse, ever, because they were both born blind. How do they love? They love with the eyes of their hearts.
Absolutely.
They love with the eyes of their souls. Now, how blessed are you and I to have physical eyes, spiritual eyes, and emotional eyes? That's 3 sets of gorgeous eyes
that we can use
Oh,
and
absolutely.
combine.
Absolutely.
And it becomes so much more powerful.
Indeed.
Exactly. Wow.
When Maya came to us at 34 years old, she wanted to lose 30 pounds because she wanted to gain her confidence back to be able to go out and socialize with her friends. She got into healthy eating and started to prep her food. She got into exercise and working out. The best she could do was lose 5 to 8 pounds, and in a very brief period of time, she would just gain it back. So she was very frustrated and felt really stuck. The good news is, after 10 weeks being on our natural fat loss, easy to use supplements, she lost 33 pounds with no dietary restrictions. She feels amazing, she feels confident and sexy again, and she was so surprised that even her sleep was so much better and restful, and she had so much energy during the daytime.
So do you think love is weakness or power? Or is it still a double-edged sword?
It is a double-edged sword, and I'm so glad you picked up on that. Love without...
I love that you're right in the middle.
There you go.
With all the answers.
I'm telling you,
you don't go either way.
I'm going to play it safe with you. Love without wisdom is a weakness. Because you can love someone too much, and it becomes your weakness. But love with wisdom speaks volumes and strength. Because sometimes saying no is the utmost amount of love.
Absolutely.
Right?
Especially when it comes to kids.
Especially when it comes to kids. So I think love without wisdom is weakness. Love with hesitation is weakness. But love with wisdom and understanding could be a very powerful element.
That's very nice. You know, I'm so happy that you're here, because I feel like I'm learning so much from you without even reading or listening to anything. Just listening to you, I've evolved.
You're far too
within
kind.
within
You're
the
far
last
too
30
kind.
minutes, I've evolved. So what is the number one quality that makes somebody a good leader?
To lead by example. A good leader will be in the forefronts, will not stand back and order. A good leader is out there, if not carrying 70 or 60% of the weight, is carrying the 50% of the weight. We can only lead by example. Not until you are ready to lead. Do not take on the title of a leader.
I agree with you, because a lot of people call themselves even leaders, and you're right. Like, even with my kids, and as you know, they don't even listen to what you say. They do as you do.
That's right. That's right. We can preach to our kids all day long, but they will only pick up what they see with their eyes rather than what they hear with their ears.
Exactly.
And the world is giving quite a bit for our children to hear, but not enough to look at.
Yes.
So you and I, in that small nucleus thing called family, even if it's a single family, household, we have the opportunity to show them what needs to happen.
Absolutely. So let's see. Who and what is the greatest enemy of mankind, you think? What will destroy us?
Mankind.
Oh, ourselves.
Mankind. We are self-destructing beings unless we realize that we have a greater purpose in life.
And I believe unless we really accept the community and being the collective that we are and getting out of the separation and division.
Putting aside our differences, setting aside our differences. Really, I love the term, let's agree to disagree. Can we disagree in a civilized manner? Can I still walk away from this interview with completely different mindset than you, and yet if we run into each other in the street, have left in a way that I can come and say, "Hi, Dr. Neda, how are you? It's been a while since we've met each other." And I think if humanity is going to survive, it needs to defeat itself.
Yes.
And at the same time, it needs to be a victor on its own self.
Yes. I agree with that because a lot of people are worried about the planet, Mother Earth, which, of course, we are living here. This is our house, our home, Mother Earth. But I feel like Mother Earth is smart enough to take care of herself. If she needs to cleanse, she will cleanse. So at this point, I feel like just concentrating on humanity as a whole. And you're right, putting away our differences and helping each other. And you're right, you don't agree with everything, but just respect everyone, the respect that's needed.
Absolutely.
And
the Creator has created both the nature, the world, and us as a createes inside of it. And I think if we learn to coexist, number one, as humans with one another, then we will be less damaging the environment that we've been entrusted with. Again, I strongly spiritually believe that God has put us in the best environment to live. If we learn to live within our bounds, not above and beyond our means, and on any aspect of imagination, then I think the humanity will save itself. And once the humanity save itself from self-destructing, it will also save the environment it's been entrusted with.
Absolutely. We're here to tend the garden, our planet.
That's it, because it's not the final destination here.
Yes.
This is clearly not the final destination.
Absolutely. So we better take care of this while we are here. What is the number one solution to healing the world? You think it goes hand in hand with the other? Is it love, you think? To heal the world?
There was a famous song saying, "All you need is love."
Yes, yes.
But I think it takes a little bit more than that. Again, my ideology may be slightly biased in the sense that I come from a spiritual perspective. But what will save the world or what will heal the world eventually is love. Because in the Bible, one of the second shortest verses is, God is love.
Exactly.
Again, we all know John 3:16, for God so loved the world. And if God has loved us, then we got to learn to love one another.
Yes. I think that is really why we're here anyway.
And there's no greater love for a brother to lay down his life for the sake of his kind. So love is all you need. All you need is love. But what kind of love? We can love of money, love of possessions, love of travel, love of this, maybe the sexual love perhaps for some people may be the answer. But you really have to learn first to define love, and then all you need is love.
Yes. So what is love to you again? It's coming, for me, it's definitely the heart.
Sure.
Where your heart is. But how do you define?
On the spiritual side or on the emotional side?
On the spiritual side.
On the spiritual side, I believe it's God's love. When I was his enemy, when I didn't know him, he loved me, he knew me, and he counted me worthy. So that's on the spiritual side. On the physical realm, it's my daughters, my children. And the third dimension, to make it a 3D kind of an answer, short and sweet, is my significant other. To know that you are loved despite all of your weaknesses. When I haven't shaved, when I don't have my best Sunday suit on, but yet I'm still loved, I think that's very gratifying.
I think that's what we are here to experience anyway.
I hope so.
A part of it, yes. What do you do to open up your heart center? Are there things that you do? Prayers, meditations, music, food, anything that...
Well, food is fantastic.
That's what I'm saying.
But
it connects all of us.
Yeah.
No,
Pardon me. Speaking about food, just gets me so excited.
It's like
food is great, but it has its side effects. But all jokes aside, I think being humble, humility.
Humility.
Knowing where I've come from, not forgetting when I had a car that was 3 years older than myself. Not forgetting that there was a time that I wished I had a certain pair of pants. Now that I've accomplished so much, per se, now that I have come to where I am, if I forget where I've been, I'll never appreciate where I'm going.
Yes, and living in gratitude. That's one of the highest vibrations anyway for us.
Absolutely.
It's a great place to be at.
Yeah.
Anything else you would like to add to the world?
No, to the world.
To the world? Say to the world?
I don't know if there's anything more to add, but I say I hope that everybody gets to experience real love in both the spiritual realm and the physical realm.
And hope they will share it also with everybody else, because I feel like the more we give out, as you said, it becomes from a nucleus of the house or your significant other. But if we can really give it out there and share it with everyone we come into contact with.
I couldn't agree more. You cannot experience real love and hold it to yourself. In order for a beautiful rose to disperse that aroma, it needs to be broken, right? It needs to be squeezed between your hands. That's where you can smell real rose. And real love, in order to be shared, it has to be experienced and then put into action and given back. So it's really hard to be loved and not love back. So I hope that people are loved. And as you said, I hope that they share that love.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
30 minutes workout, never a class time, always a trainer included. You come in whenever you want, 30 minutes in and out, 6 days a week. We're in Laguna Niguel. Would love to have you. Come on, have your first workout on us.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Neda's patient and I'm taking these pills and this tea already 1 month. These ones are for weight loss and it's actually healthy way to lose weight. It supports digestion, immune system, and it gives you more energy. So during 1 month I've lost 15 pounds and I did it without any extreme diets or stuff that makes me feel uncomfortable. So if you want to lose weight in a healthy way, try this tea. It's really good, it tastes good, it smells good. Once a day, you need to try this once. It really works magic.
My name is Amaryllis Agadan, and I've been coming to Dr. Neda for years. She's wonderful. I come for neck pain and shoulder, and also chiropractic, also in massage. I enjoy the office. It's very nice, very comfortable, and that's why I'm still coming.
Please go ahead and hit that like button, comment, ask questions, share, and subscribe. You're a very valuable part of this movement, and your opinion really matters. Thank you very much. Light, love, and blessings to you all.